My name is Sean Garrick. I'm a professor of mechanical engineering in the College of Science and Engineering. I've been a professor here since fall 1998. I got my degrees in mechanical engineering from the State University of New York at Buffalo with a bachelor's degree, master's degree, and PhD. I began studying mechanical engineering in 1988 and got my PhD in summer of 1997. In the Department of Mechanical Engineering, I teach classes in thermodynamics, fluid physics, heat transfer, and computational methods. Outside of my teaching responsibilities, I perform research in the area of fluid dynamics, fluid physics, chemically reacting flows. So this means things like combustion, atmospheric fluid problems, pollution issues, even things like drug synthesis and drug delivery. My work involves a lot of, again, fluid mechanics and a fair amount of chemistry. It's more on the theoretical side in the sense that I don't do physical experiments. What I do is primarily involves equations and computers and utilizing high-performance computing to solve those equations. Aside from the teaching and research responsibilities, service to the university involves things like helping manage the Digital Technology Center and also the Supercomputing Institute. This is where researchers from across the university utilize high-performance computing to help solve relevant research problems. I also advise a fair number of undergraduates every year. This includes students who I've met in my classes, or also students who are participating in the university's undergraduate research opportunities program. There, the students work anywhere from 10 to 14 hours a week with myself and other researchers in my lab to help us solve some of our problems. I started to interview for jobs, and the jobs interviews went fairly well, but the jobs weren't particularly interesting. The jobs were they were in companies, in engineering offices of large companies, but the responsibilities weren't particularly challenging. They didn't involve much math and science. And I met a professor who really encouraged me to start considering graduate school. And that's how I ended up spending all 10 years of my education at the State University of New York at Buffalo. I took the summer off in between undergraduate and graduate school, and then I was in graduate school for the next 6 years. I've had several mentors over the years. These are people I've known both professionally and personally. Professionally, and it later turned into a more personal relationship, was the person who went on to become my PhD advisor, my PhD mentor. I met him as an undergraduate in the class. He was teaching a technical elective I was taking in my junior year, and he noticed I was really interested in the subject and asked me if I wanted to perform research. I didn't know anything about research, so I got involved, and it was a huge turning point in my academic career, because then it really allowed me to connect the things I was learning in class with the things that's going on in the real world. He and I became very, very good friends, and he somewhat took on a more fatherly role in the sense that he taught me how to be a professional scientist. He taught me how to do things at a really high level, how to make sure that I was satisfied with what I was doing, and basically how to hold myself accountable. Other mentors I've had include two other professors. One of them was a professor in the Department of African American Studies, and he is originally from Trinidad, and my parents are from the Caribbean, so we had a bit of a cultural background in common. And during the rough days of graduate school, because I think everyone who goes to graduate school has some rough days, if not rough weeks, he helped me get through it quite a bit just by telling me that it is a difficult process and it is a long road, but that I could make it through. It's definitely played a role in my deciding to do this job, and I think in how I do the job. Meaning my family and by culture, I would restrict it to my immediate family or my extended family. Many of the folks in my family are theoreticians of one kind or another. If I were to look at my aunts and uncles, the one thing that they have in common is they're probably, more often than not, they're lawyers. And I think of law as being the theory of how people live together, or the rules that try to govern or describe how people live together. It's a job that requires a lot of energy, and it's a job in which it's one in which a lot of the feedback that you get is negative. you write papers, you write proposals, and the thing that you get back is not how great the paper was or how great the proposal was or how good the result is, but what you did wrong or what could be done to make it better. And once you realize that that's part of the job, then you have to find things that'll help balance you out with positive reinforcement. Two of the things I do are sports related and more arts hobbies. In the past, I would say 3 years, I've become a much more serious photographer. I spend about 3 to 5 hours every weekend working on photography, whether that's shooting pictures, developing pictures, or printing and so on. I also participate in a couple photo clubs. And sports-wise, I do a fair amount of cycling, and I'm a pretty serious or intense racquetball player, currently number 2 in the St. Paul Y Championship. And this helps me stay sane and keep coming back on Monday morning.